as I remember, I walked into the room. This was all happening quite fast. And then I walked to the front of Carrie. And then that's when something happened that I didn't really understand at the time. But this tremendous, tremendous level of peace that came upon me was just incredible. It was like God said, no matter what happens, it's all going to be okay.
When we first joined CHM, maternity was certainly on our minds and in our hearts. We were eager to start a family, and unfortunately we suffered a miscarriage, and that was pretty hard on us, but God blessed us. Just 8 short weeks later, we were very excited to find out that it seemed like a much healthier pregnancy, although I was very sick. The baby was good. We still thought that God was leading us back to the mission field, and our desire was to give birth in Africa. It was at our 10-week appointment that our doctor strongly cautioned us that she just didn't feel good about the access to medical care and just a lot of unknowns with how sick I was and the high-risk pregnancy. And we're both pretty strong-willed, and so it took some surrender to submit to her recommendation, and she strongly encouraged us to stay stateside through the pregnancy, and we're very glad she did, because as it turned out, I was very sick throughout the entire pregnancy, and then Joshua made his arrival 8 weeks early under some pretty critical conditions. I was very sick with HELPS, preeclampsia and eclampsia, and we had a very short time to survive. We had less than a 10-minute survival window. On the gurney, all I could think was it's way too early for our baby to be born.
So as they were wheeling Carrie into the operating room, I was getting suited, and they were hurrying me along because everything had to happen extremely fast. And I was ushered into the room, and when I was ushered into the room, 14 healthcare officials, as well as doctors, nurses, were in prayer. And it was very moving. It ended up really focusing me on how serious this was.
In the operating room, it was my OB who said, we're just going to take a moment and pray. Everybody kind of gathered around and stopped the hustle and bustle of what they were doing. The anesthesiologist was really anxious at that point because my platelets were at such a point that he wasn't comfortable giving me anesthesia with platelets any lower. And so she stopped and she said, actually, we don't have time not to pray. When Joshua was born, it was a C-section, so I really couldn't see much of what was happening, but he was born breathing. He was born crying at just 3 pounds and 1 ounce. He lost some weight after he was born, which was to be expected. He came through the NICU. It was a 5-week stay for us. Those are some long, lonely days of hoping and just waiting for him to grow and learn what he needs to do that he would have done in utero. So just to watch him develop on the outside was just a glimpse at how amazing God is in our design. As soon as Joshua made his grand debut into the world, we realized we were off the charts. There were so many specialists, radiologists, pulmonologists. The neonatologist that came in was a separate bill than the facilities, and the surgeries were different, and the medical bills seemed to be piling up so quickly. After 3 days, I called CHM, and the person I needed to talk to was in a prayer meeting. At first, I was a little frustrated, but then I had to laugh at myself as I realized how unlikely it was that I needed to call my healthcare plan back because they were praying. That simple thought was like a ray of sunshine in my hospital room.
That afternoon, Carrie spoke with a CHM representative in the maternity department. The representative told Carrie, "Don't worry about it. We got the money handled. Just worry about your child and getting well." You know, as Carrie said, she's frustrated because they can't answer the phone because because they're in a prayer meeting. And it's almost comical, because we automatically assume that the financial institution doesn't think that way. And that is what is very, very unique and wonderful and a blessing, is that it isn't just a financial institution, but you also have people there that are praying.
What I would tell a couple wanting to start a family, have a child, as far as the maternity program, there is no other choice. We have been so blessed through the Gold program and Brother's Keeper, even with our special needs situation and kind of extensive medical bills, that 100% was shared. In all, our medical bills were over $300,000. We received over 66% discounts, and CHM shared the rest. And before Joshua was even 6 months old, we had all of our bills shared, and we're just so tremendously blessed. The way the program is explained and all the details is how it happened.
That's exactly how it happens.
And I think we're now just cresting the 20th percentile. So at 3, he's a happy, healthy, active little boy. He is just a tremendous blessing in our lives. And we're glad CHM played such a significant role and that Joshua's doing great. We can't imagine our lives without him.